It is 2018 retrospective. So I thought that today might be a very good day to start filming this video, because I've been very, kind of sad, kinda. And I've been very horny today. I don't know why. Sometimes have these emotional periods, kinda, and I'm a little unshaved, which is kind of perfect. Kind of symbolizes what 2018 was to me. Kind of scuffed, you know, a little bit unshaved and unpruned. The year pretty much started with me quitting high school, which is something that I've always wanted to do, pretty much. School has always been a very painful kind of endeavor for me. It's always been very associated with emotional pain and just very hard times. And it's always something that's been put on me by my parents, pretty much. My parents, whom I have a pretty, not really like a complicated relationship or anything like that, you know, it's just, they expect me to do kind of what, you know, everybody's expected to do, but I can't do, you know, I'm just not one of those people who can do school. I've never done one in school. It's always just been painful for me. It's always been hard. And now looking back at the year that's passed, it's definitely been the best year of my life. It was a very, very good decision to drop out of high school and just be myself for a year. It was very, very good. School is one of those things that's put a lot of trauma in me, essentially. Soft trauma, you know. But, you know, painful memories, basically. Hard times, rough times. Elementary school, you know, kind of rough all the way through. I was always fat. But that didn't make me have to be funny, which is why I'm funny. And I rushed into my first year of high school without really thinking. I just tried to pick something that was easy to achieve, because my dad was forcing me to pick something, and I did. And it was a 1 year of restaurant and you know, service industry within the food sector. And it was very, very bad. It was very rough. I was sleeping very little. I lost a lot of weight. I was very stressed. It was a very bad time for me for a lot of reasons. I learned a lot of things in that time. It was a process. Just that year was something that really crushed down my ego in a way and built me back up, which was sort of very good for me. Since that I have rebuilt a faith in myself in a way, where I have a confidence and a faith in what I am, what abilities I have, and I think I can speak with honesty what I know and so forth. But I dropped out of the first year of that high school, and I started the high school that I dropped out most recently, started January 2018, which is a humanist line, which is pretty much like sociology or whatever, but, you know, with some more culture and more language and stuff, which was terrible. There were only women in the line, only, like, you know, not women, not virtuous, pure, you know, pure-hearted, good people, just girls, feminists. And feminists from Stockholm in Sweden. So they were very bad people for a lot of reasons. You know, and I wasn't much better, truthfully. I was a bad person too for a lot of reasons, but I had a lot of maturation during that time for a lot of reasons, mainly because I was very, very alone. During those 2 years, including up to now, pretty much, I've been very alone, physically speaking. I haven't really spent any time with any people, aside from people over YouTube and such, and, you know, over online, and meeting people in the Twitch stream that I stream at. Physically speaking, I've been very alone. It's also why I've had bouts with, I've caught depression like a couple times, 2-3 times, something like that. And I've cured myself of it simply by, you know, working hard, which has always been a running theme throughout my life, is that I'm put into a bad situation and I work myself out of it, which is also, you know, it's very good to have that faith in your own self. But nevertheless, at the end of the second year, I knew pretty much, you know, I wasn't attending high school pretty much. I was just, every single day my dad would wake me up, and then I just would go back to bed, and then my dad would call up and go, "Why didn't you go to school?" And I'd make up a new excuse, and that would happen every single day. And my dad just didn't seem to really take a hint that there was just nothing that he could have done to make that situation work. Also, he didn't live with us at the time because he lives with his wife now. And, you know, it was just me and my brother. And then, you know, I go off to school, be miserable, be in huge pain, be tired, be, you know, anxious, don't like anything I'm doing, be hugely unmotivated. And then I come back home and everybody's just berating me for not doing well, etc. And I used to play, I just played a lot of Counter-Strike, basically. In high school, I played a lot of Counter-Strike. Before that, in elementary, I played a lot of League of Legends, basically, and I would bury myself in that and just, like, play that a ton. I'd just stay up late and play that all the time. And everything, you know, all my social experiences come from video games like that. And I'm very good with computers and stuff like that, and games, and I'm very, very good at a lot of new media, things like that, because that's what I used to spend my time with. I had no physical friends. I still don't. That's a tradition I've still kept. I still have yet to really make any real physical friends, which is why it's important to me that I do physical things now. For example, I've challenged myself to try to go to TwitchCon, the first European TwitchCon ever in 2019, and I hope I can make it. I really hope I can. So anyway, after about 2.5 years of this, around the December time in 2018, 2017, January in 2018, my dad finally was, I just distended my dad's patience with me more and more, and at some point he just was fine with me quitting high school finally, and I was very happy. I was very happy immediately that I could stop, and I promised him that I would search for a job. I still haven't gotten a job. Well, I do. I kind of do. I'm really applying myself in streaming and making videos and stuff like that. And it's been very hard. It's been very, very hard because I've had to undo a lot of years of just like trauma, basically. But I've gotten through it, which I'll continue to narrate, obviously, because it was very tough on me initially. But yeah, I've not gotten a proper employment as of right now. And then I got out of high school, and just around January, February, I was just, I don't know. I think around those months I was just completely settling out of not being in immense pain and stress, basically, kind of, because it's always been my life, is that I've always had to just suffer and then deal with that and then just sort of pick myself up and do it again every day. And it was it's very it's built a lot of endurance in me in a lot of ways, which has been good, because it wasn't, I don't think it was to such a degree that it wasn't really, you can't really quantify it as abuse. It was abusive, I was in a lot of pain, and I still am to some extent because of it, but it wasn't, somebody wasn't forcing me to, nobody was, punching me in the mouth or anything. It wasn't abusive like that. It was much more, sinister and slow and creeping, Around February, March-ish, I was just trying to work my way out of where I was, basically, where I was just playing Fortnite pretty much. I had gone from playing Counter-Strike to playing PUBG to playing Fortnite. Counter-Strike wasn't, competitively satisfying. I couldn't get anything out of it. Video games were the one thing that would always give me satisfaction in life, to be like, I'm always progressing in some way. I was very good at League of Legends before I quit that game, because it lost its magic pretty much. And then Counter-Strike got overrun with cheaters, and I quit that game, because there's no point in competing when everybody else is cheating, right? And then I played PUBG, because I was a frontier for competitive video gaming, and then that game, it was always bad. It was always a bad game. And then Fortnite came out, and Fortnite is also a bad game, but it was better. And so I switched to that. And I just used to play that, like, just day in and day out. I used to stay up late, like 4 o'clock, and then I used to play a ton of Fortnite, and I was really good at the game. And that kept me going. But, at the end of the day, I would just, go over and lay down in my bed, and I would just be just miserable. I would just thinking about myself. I would just think to myself, like, this is bad. This is really bad for real. And I would just be very unhappy. And I wouldn't be searching for jobs or anything like that. I wouldn't be really doing anything. But then eventually, I started looking around me to see what I could do. And I was always sort of on and off making YouTube videos. And yeah, I've always wanted, I've always been funny. Like I said, I was fat in elementary school, and so I had to be funny. And so I've always had to be funny. And I learned how to be funny. And so I just made some simple YouTube videos. And then one of the videos got really big, my genre video, like it really blew up. It got like 50,000 views, something like that. And then I made another video, and short, low effort, simple animation with Cuphead, which got like 10,000 views also. And it really, just because that got kind of discovered a bit, it felt like I have that spark, that funniness that I've always thought I had is real. Other people can see that too. It's not just, I don't just think this stuff in my head and it's like clicks in my head because of comedic logic. It's like, it works on other people also. On a huge audience, it worked on YouTube. Like, it worked. And so I started just making like videos. And eventually I tried Twitch streaming, and I was still, playing Fortnite, and I was still miserable, and, went to bed way too late and all that stuff, but, I had something to stand on, kind of. Then I reintroduced something that I had during the high school time, which was something that my dad originally forced me to be under, which was a kind of an internet schedule, so that at a certain time during the day, the internet would just shut off completely on all devices. and I would just have to go to bed. And I just put that, I still have that today. I still have that to this day. And as a person who, you know, has trouble with that kind of stuff, I don't know, just keeping times, it's very good for me to have that as a thing, I don't know, a help, I don't know, whatever. And so I had something just to do, and I was just, you know, on and off doing little tiny streams here and there, making little YouTube videos and stuff, and I was just working on myself around, you know, half-time, you know, I was just getting up, you know, around June, July, something like that, halfway through the year of 2018. But at that point I was really, you know, getting somewhere. I was actually, I had a schedule kind of, vaguely, even if I wasn't sleeping well and I was oversleeping all that stuff, I wasn't really, you know, taking care of myself much, but at least had somewhat of a shape, and I was just, you know, de-stressing still and going through all this trauma that I still had in me from all this time. And then after a point I chose to start dieting, because I saw I was just very fat. I've always been fat, I've always been chunky, and so I saw that I was getting fat again, and I just took matters into my own hand and decided to just go on a diet. And I'm still kind of on the diet, kind of. Now I'm not losing weight anymore, I'm putting on weight because of weightlifting, but you know, still. And so slowly I was just, you know, turning my life around. I was going through all this old stuff, and I was figuring, you know, sorting myself out, Jordan B. Peterson style, whatever, you know. I know his name is, a lot of people have a strong reaction to him, but you know, him and a bunch of other people, Joe Rogan, the huge human gorilla, and you know, a bunch of people like that with, you know, self-improvement stuff, and also just listening to my own self and figuring out my own self. I've always been a person who's been kind of the arbiter of my own personal truths and all stuff. I've always found truths in my own self to try and improve myself, and just figuring stuff out and thinking about it to put it in place in my own mind. And I did that a whole lot. That's what I did when I was laying over there in my bed and being miserable. I was just, you know, trying to figure out what was wrong with me, because I couldn't make I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated at a point that I wanted to just punch myself in the head. Like, it happened a couple of days in a row, a couple of weeks, where I was just like so frustrated that I couldn't get any work done. I just couldn't decide to just sit down and just stream some Fortnite or whatever, or I couldn't just make a video because I was just so frustrated. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy for it. And in hindsight, it was just because of, you know, the situation I was in. Simple as that. There was no, you know, there's nothing wrong with me, really. I'm actually kind of gifted in a lot of ways, not just biologically, but, you know, the chances I've had and all that stuff. It's actually been, I've had a hard life. Make no mistake. But yeah, it's nothing wrong with me in that way.
To continue watching the next part of the series, click on the video to the right, or click on the full playlist to the left, and click on the channel badge if you want to subscribe.